Right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Love Island cast. I am Chris Phelps, one of your hosts, and my good friend, and not very cynical anymore, is Mr. Dave Horrocks.
Good evening, Chris. And yeah, I think you might have got me, you know.
I told you, Dave, I told you.
I'm still not completely bought in, but it is dominating my thoughts quite a bit more than I thought it was going to. So, yeah, I'm not really sure I can rattle off the line that I'm the show cynic anymore. I didn't expect that to happen within the first week.
But it has, and I've got to say, I've been calling out the show more than you, to be fair. Not because I don't enjoy it, I love it, but it's just, you can see stuff's going on, and I'm sure we'll get into that in a second. But it's great because I know you've got a mindset like mine is when you commit to something, you're all in, it's all or nothing. And I know with you, once you're invested in it even a little bit, you've got to research and look at different things, and I think it's brilliant. I knew I'd hook you in. It's not very often I can get my fishing reel out, Dave, and just reel you in, you know, but I genuinely believe it. I think it's just a good concept, isn't it, the way we've played off, and I want to thank everyone over the last week because we've had quite a few listens and downloads already, and a couple of people who genuinely don't like Love Island have actually started listening to the show, and hopefully we'll have a couple of guests on in the next few weeks who were of the same mindset as yourself, never seen an episode, but now they're invested in it because they're listening to us and they're commenting on our social media. So big thanks to everyone out there.
Yeah, the reception's been absolutely brilliant. Like I say, what we now, this is episode 4, isn't it?
Yep.
So, yeah, absolutely thank you to everyone out there. It's been brilliant, more than we expected, to be honest.
Exactly. And also just going off that as well, what we've just said is the initial intention of the podcast, which we released on the trailer last week, was to just do one episode a week and possibly jump on when something controversial happens. But because of the way the format's gone and the fact that we really enjoy this podcast and the reception we've had, we're now going to try and aim to do one every other day. And then if something big does happen, we may have to do a couple of days in a row. So just, you'll see quite a lot of episodes popping up on our podcast feeds and your podcast feed. So if you are following us, guys, please get on there and please give us some of them reviews. If you can give us some 5-star reviews, it helps us get out there to more people on the algorithms. So I do appreciate it, and hopefully it'll evolve and change as we go on. But yeah, I'm really, really enjoying the format for us both.
And I have to say, Chris, I mean, I'm a novice. I'm the white belt here, aren't I? But it just seems like if we left it for a week, so much changes from day to day, genuinely. I mean, is it normally like this? Can we expect more of this?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, I know we'll get into what's happened yesterday. We're filming this on the Saturday, so obviously we'll get into it. And we've got the recap show on tonight, which shows some of the behind-the-scenes stuff on ITV. And I think as well, Dave, it happens constantly. If we left it a week, and you're right, I mean, we probably, not being ambitious, but I wasn't sure how the format had gone. You weren't sure. It was an idea born out of a conversation, so we couldn't leave it that long, Dave. You'd literally have couples changing every couple of days, and it wouldn't make any sense to do a total recap, especially if you're a super fan or a fan of the show. You want to be kept current and get involved in the discussion, don't you? So it genuinely wouldn't happen. And also, on the subject of that, Dave, our hosting site, this is to all the listeners out there, we use Anchor as our hosting site. And what you can do, guys, if you want to get involved in the show and interact with me and Dave, you can actually leave a voice message to the show, which we will play on the show. So if you get over to Anchor, download the app, and then find ourselves, the Love Island cast. If you want to get involved there, you can. And please leave us some sort of voicemail message, you know, good or bad, or something to do with the show, or a question for us both, and we'll try and respond as best we can. So it's just a quirky little thing with the app I find really interesting as well.
No, that is really good. That voicemail thing is awesome. Just like you say on the app there, if you want to hurl some abuse at us, that's fine as well.
I'm sure there is, Dave, but no, brilliant. So, Dave, over the last couple of days, we've had all sorts going on since our last episode. What have you loved? What have you hated? And what have you thought, oh my God?
Well, the last time we spoke, obviously, we just saw Molly-Mae was just walking into the villa, and the public had voted that she was going to go on a date with Tommy. And he declared, hadn't he, what was it, 2 Beyoncés and 4 Rihannas if they walked in? You know, it wouldn't change his opinion of Lucy. Well, he did shoot up there. So that's what we saw at the end of the last time, at the episode when we spoke last. But then when he actually got in there, by God, his eyes were like saucers, weren't they?
Yeah.
There's no looking back there. And he was absolutely loving it. He comes out. I did say, didn't I? I said, he says those same lines, you know, about 5 times a night. And he's now said it again to Molly-Mae, oh, you're exactly my type, you know. And it's just so funny to watch. And every time the camera seemed to go away, he seemed to just inch a little bit closer. Just getting closer. Like she's just chilling out, you know, lying with her back against the jacuzzi wall kind of thing. And he's just getting closer and closer to the middle of it. And, you know, he's like, oh, you're from Manchester? I'm from Manchester. Whereabouts? The city centre. Oh, I'm close to the city centre. He's like a little boy.
I wasn't convinced she was from the city centre, Dave. I thought she
don't really sound like it.
No, because she would know the areas of Manchester. As you lived in Manchester for a long time, I know you don't live here now. I live in Manchester and I've grown up all my life. I was waiting for you to say, like, well, I live on Deansgate or I live off Oxford Road, or, you know, if she's saying city centre, or I live on the edges of Salford into Manchester city centre, where a lot of the people are and the apartments and flats are now and stuff. I was thinking that's fucking bullshit. She knows he's from Manchester. How long? About 4 months. I was like, oh, give me that nonsense. So I wasn't convinced, but it did bore a line, which I'm stealing this from Twitter, Dave. It's not something I actually made up or said. And you actually questioned, what does that mean, social media influencer? When he said, what do you do? And she went, I'm social media influencer. And someone on Twitter who's got loads of retweets said, in other words, love, you're fucking unemployed. You know what I mean? Because a social media influencer is someone who goes on Instagram and tries to promote something. I don't think she is, Dave. I've never heard of her on there. I thought it was absolute nonsense. Nonsense.
It's possibly a bit more kind than what I was thinking. I was like, right, you stick on a G-string and show your ass on Instagram.
Well, I'm trying to not say that, but yeah, basically, yeah. The TNA, as they used to call it, Dave. But yeah, that's what I thought she was. But I've got to say, I know obviously we've had this discussion about Lucy, and I did get pulled up by Sam about my comments about Megan. She was laughing from the last series. But I've got to say, I do think Lucy, she's a lot prettier than this Molly-Mae. I'm not shaming anybody, but I think she is. And I understand what you meant when you said she's really attractive. She is really attractive. I may have actually gone in a bit too early, Dave. I must be honest. I'm flip-flopping.
Are you doing a bit of a Tommy here?
Yeah, I'm changing by the episode. I think, is it Anna? I do like Anna. And she's not a plus-size model, Anna. She's a normal-sized girl, isn't she? I just think it's because she's tall. She's
got a bit of that Kim Kardashian look about her, hasn't she?
Yeah, and you know how much I love the Kardashians, Dave. So.
She is a big lady. I mean, I'm not saying she's plus-size, but she is just everything about her is big.
Yeah.
I'm doing an appropriate level of digging here, aren't I? Equivalent to some of the lads in the villa.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as I said, you know, for me, Lucy is the prettiest one there. Molly-Mae is, you know, she's done herself up. You imagine she's up about 2 hours before everyone else, just getting herself looking right and stuff. Whereas I think Lucy's just naturally pretty, and she's got that kind of girl next door quality about her.
Yeah, she has, to be fair. I agree. The more I've watched of her, I do agree. I think she's a very pretty girl, but I still think she's playing a game, and I think it come to fruition with the actual recoupling we saw last night. There's 2 things out of that, which I know we're going to get into, Dave, but she was gutted when he went off with Molly-Mae, obviously when Tommy went off, and then we had the thing with Curtis, then didn't we? Curtis come over, and again, Dave, I'm not completely convinced Curtis is this absolutely top draw nice guy. He's playing the game, and he looks like he's a nice guy, but the way he went over to Amy, obviously everyone's sort of saying now they're like the early contenders to win it, and he goes straight over and kisses her before he gets in the jacuzzi. And obviously the girls straight away are slacking Molly-Mae off. And this happens every year, Dave. What's happened here is nothing new. They're threatened when a lad comes in. The lads seem to embrace the new lads better than the ladies do. The girls and that just seem to straight away go on the defensive.
Shocking, that, isn't it? Yeah. Are you saying the lads just are just pretty much straight up, and the women are all bitchy?
Dave, no.
Yeah, I'm just saying nothing. I'm saying, is that your observation of what you've seen on Love Island?
Yes, over the years as well. That's from a veteran. a veteran, Dave. But I've got to say, last night, we had three things that stood out for me. The recoupling, I'm absolutely shocked that Lucy picked Joe, because he is an out-and-out bunny boiler of the Glenn Close kind. I'm sorry. That look he gave her when he put his arm around her after she picked him was... If that was anyone else, I'm sure the parents at home going, get out now.
I bet he's got a little collection of hair as well. You know, she's been sleeping on the sofa generally every night, hasn't she? And, you know, I bet he goes out after, collects the hair. He'll save that for later. He is a bit strange. I don't, he's one of those, like, if I look at Tommy, I think, yeah, I can get it. I can get why girls kind of like him. I don't really get it with Joe.
No. I think the editing, though, hasn't helped him, Dave, because it made no logical sense from the story and direction we've seen over the last few days. She's not even interacted with Joe. When he's trying to go over and speak to her, you saw it last night, she pied him off, didn't she? Went, I'll come see you in a minute. She carried on with Tommy. It made no sense for her to then pick him, and I'm thinking they've obviously edited this completely different because it made absolute... But I've got to say, Dave... Bravo, one of your tweets. Some of the tweets you pulled out were brilliant on our social media channel, which coincidentally, guys, is at Love Island Cast on Twitter. When the men were doing this rescuing the damsel in distress game off of the track. So
I know which one you mean.
The men decided that they were going to put their arses in the face, and every one of the women was like, well, that definitely wasn't attractive. And you put a tweet out about a tea bag, and that woman's pulling the tea bag out one of the gifts. I was absolutely pissing myself. It wasn't nice for anybody to see that, Dave.
No, I think it was a bit of an odd move. It seemed like one of them did it, and then everyone was like, oh, that's a good idea, isn't it? But I have to say, by God, I questioned some of my own sexuality when Michael was up there dancing. I know, obviously, being a Scouser, you won't like him, but I thought he looked damn sexy there as a cowboy.
Yeah, he was proper going. He was the first one wanting to do the moves. And
yeah.
I predicted, between myself and you, we have a bit of a who's going to go scenario. You'd predicted Callum, I predicted Michael. And I genuinely, because of the way they'd edited it, I thought, oh, he's gone, Michael. And then at the last seconds, he sort of redeemed himself, didn't he? But yeah, it was a strange game. But last night brought for me the best moment of the whole series. So let's picture the scene now, Dave. You know I'm going to build it up. I want you to finish this one, my friend. And I'm sure everyone out there who's watched the show will understand. We go for the recoupling. Anna gets up. We get the sort of background, sort of saddish music. And she's standing up. This guy is, you know, if from the start I wasn't sure about blah, blah. This guy's got a great body. And good old Anton, the old Love Island Villa Romeo, perks up. He's like a little kid there, peacocking, smiling away. And she went... Sharif, and then he popped the balloon.
That was a brilliant moment, and although Anton does my head in so many ways, but he's actually good entertainment. So I'm glad he didn't go, you know. And I think the right person in Callum did go, and it was Amber. You know, she sort of made it clear it was like a tactical vote, wasn't it? She said, you know, I want to keep him in so he can, you know, find someone.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just is really funny because he says, you know, I'm a confident guy. I don't know if that confidence has taken a bit of a knock in, because there didn't seem to be much reason for him to really make a play for Anna. Obviously, you know, if he'd just stuck with Amber initially, you know, he'd be sweet, but no, he gambled on Lucy, ends up with no one. And then it seemed to me quite a tactical move to then move to Anna, you know, because he saw that, you know, she wasn't really getting on that much with Sharif openly. You know, they don't interact that much. It doesn't seem in the daytime. You obviously can't tell that much from a 1 hour edited show, but just from what she said. So it seemed like a tactical move to go after her. And then, but it's like him going for second best kind of thing. And so, yeah, when he just took a kick to the stones there, that was the funniest bit.
I mean, I put that picture on our Instagram page actually tonight. It's on Instagram. It's the Love Island Cast again, guys. I put it up there because someone's obviously put the three stills together. The excitement, the smile, the sort of anticipation, then the head down and like the sorrow. And I think what it is with him, I've got to give him 10 out of 10. He's genuinely. I've got to say, some of the lads have got fantastic bodies. I genuinely think he's got the best body out of all the lads. He's absolutely granite, his body.
He's like a Greek Adonis, isn't he?
Yeah,
to be fair.
Tommy's got a great body. Sharif, I don't think there's any of them really, but he stands out over all of them. He's got an absolutely proper, he must be in the gym 6 to 7 times a week, and he genuinely looks the business. But he starts talking to Anna, and he's like, well, yeah, I think it's something between us. I didn't want to say anything, but, I've been really into you and stuff since the start, and all this. And I'm like, you said that to everyone. You said that to absolutely everyone. And like you said about Tommy, I think Anton again, I think what probably happens is, Dave, unfortunately, he probably goes to a lot of shallow places where all he has to do is flash his abs or wear some sort of tight shirt, and he'll have a couple. And I understand that because some people are attracted visually, some people are attracted in the mind, and it's all about, and that's, everyone's different. I totally understand that. I'm not judging him or anybody who likes him, but genuinely, it doesn't work in these shows at all. I've seen it where you've got girls coming who look absolutely stunning, and then all it takes is a couple of episodes, and you're like, I really don't like her. And that attractiveness on the outside is ruined by, and that's in normal life as well. It's ruined by the inside. If there's nothing there, or you're not a nice person, then I think for men and women, you lose all that sort of feeling towards him where you think, oh no, it's not my cup of tea at all. And I think I don't think he's a bad person at all, but I just think he's got a level of Brent about him that he doesn't realise, I think.
Yeah, I mean, God loves a trier, doesn't he? And by God, he tries. And the thing is, he is a real grafter, isn't he? And I think Anna might have even chosen him, but it seems fairly obvious that he's flitting around like a butterfly, chatting up all the ladies. And she's saying, Sharif's actually, he's just chilled out. He should probably talk to Anna a bit more. He's not off trying to chat up Lucy. He's not off trying to chat up Amber. And I didn't pick up on your point. Sorry to switch a little bit, but I think Curtis is playing a blinder. Whether he is genuinely that nice or whether it is all tactical, I don't know. But I thought, being asked for that day, he played it perfectly. He did everything perfectly, I think.
Yeah, I do. And there's also questions on Lucy, though, Dave, as well, because obviously she's took Joe and Tommy was there, which, like I say, I think everyone was shocked, and it made me laugh. Everyone was saying, like, the whole of the UK nation when she picked Joe was like, he had all the memes out and stuff where it's like people shocked, jaws dropping cartoons and that, because it was true. It was like, what are you doing? But they reckon she's pulled it out the bag because the men are going to do the recoupling next. So if it doesn't work out with Joe, she's got the best of both worlds. So she'll be with Joe, then you'll see her switch to Tommy, and then Tommy will pick her if he doesn't take off with Molly-Mae. It's a bit of a risky game, but it's one of them where I think that might be what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way Joe's not going to pick Lucy, is there? But I don't know, is she just being purely tactical? I think the editors clearly knew what they were doing. She's definitely keeping her options open, and she's definitely torn, but yeah. I think she probably knew, like you say, Molly-Mae was going to pick Tommy, so that's why she's gone with Joe. But let's see. I actually think they could make a nice couple, actually, but I just think he was a bit of a tool when Tommy came on the scene, and it just showed, very early on some, unsavoury parts to his character.
Yeah, I think anything, Dave, we've all got a jealous streak in us. It doesn't matter who you are. We always get someone like, I'm not, I do not get jealous. No, everyone gets jealous. It's a part of your makeup. It's how far you take it or how far you hide it sometimes with people. And I think it's one of the things, I'm sure you've had it, I've done it, I've seen it, I had it done, and all that. So we've all been there. And I think, unfortunately, when you're on a TV show, which is about this sort of thing, you could tell Lucy was gutted. And I saw a load of pictures online that were getting retweets where when Tommy goes off with Molly-Mae and she sat there on her own, Lucy, on the chair, I did laugh to myself because
her face like a slapped arse.
Yeah. Someone actually put it, it was brilliant. Oh, when you realise that you're not the most important person on the show, because that's what they say to do in the show. I'd made notes on this. Was you go for a couple who are a power couple. When you come in and pick one of them as your partner. If you're a man, you pick the girl, or vice versa, and you take them away. And then what it does then is it creates that time on the screen. So it creates that little narrative of the show. And that's exactly what, if I was going on the show, now if it was single, obviously, or whatever, the first thing you'd be doing is probably picking the power couple, because it's not like Big Brother where they don't allow the contestants to watch the show. They actually watch the show and then go in there. So that's why I'm saying with Molly-Mae, she knew what she was doing. She picked Tommy and Curtis because they look like the strongest couples at the time. So very clever. Very, very clever.
I tell you, I'm kind of rooting for a little bit is Michael and Yuambi.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of think there's something simmering there that's kind of growing. I mean, it seemed to be very tactical. Michael was sort of saying, obviously if it was the other way around, I'd vote to keep you in, and whatever. But I can't help but think she's, like I said before, she's very burned by things in the past. She hasn't massively clicked with anyone, really. She clicked a little bit with Curtis, it seems. But I think that could go further,
Yeah, I agree. I think I saw again. I saw one of the Love Island actual fan sites actually say that there's something going on between them two, which they've not edited in, and people were saying what a lovely guy Michael is, and the relationship between them two is fantastic. So I don't think we've seen that. Maybe we're going to see a bit more of that this week, Dave, because obviously Michael's safe now for a few days.
Yeah, no, it just seemed, just those little moments, because it's been dominated, really, hasn't it, with Lucy, Joe, Tommy triangle, with Amber slightly in there as well. Now Molly-Mae, it's been dominated, this first week by those, hasn't it? But I think Michael and Yuambi may go, like I say, maybe not the distance, but go a bit further for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree, and we'll see how it plays out. It's been really interesting. Now, obviously, at the end of the show, we got the actual announcement that there's a new lad going in as well. And now this lad, Dave, I've got to say, Danny, I've seen him hundreds of times, because where I live near the Trafford Centre. He's actually on the JD Sports advertising because he's a model. He's always wearing JD Sports clothes. So I know exactly who he is, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, fortunately. So I have a point of reference who the guy is. So we'll see how he goes when he comes in. But you may see the same situation, a bit of a Tommy situation with one of the girls. And you just don't know. If someone clicks, Dave, honestly, you'll be surprised if it plays out exactly how the other series have played out. Even the most strongest couple, you think, and all of a sudden it spins on its head. There was a Scottish girl on the last series, and she was with about 3 or 4 lads, and every time she got with one of them, Dave, she fell madly in love, and I felt quite sorry for her. She was older. She was about 36, 37, but she said she was about 31, but I think she was slightly older, so she was looking for love. She was a dead nice girl, but Dave, honestly, I think she had 3 or 4 lads who genuinely liked her, and she thought, right, this is it. And then the next minute, someone else come in, and that lad sort of, his eye wandered, and she was renowned for it all the way through. She ended up partnering up with somebody, but they didn't last very long on the outside.
Right.
But yeah, I've got a feeling we may see that with a couple of the couples.
Yeah. Well, it would be interesting. So you think he's going to go, he's going to steam in there for Lucy or Molly-Mae, or, would he maybe even try for not Amber, Amy? Too many A's. If he goes in for Amy, to try and muscle his way in, put Curtis's nose out of joint a bit, maybe. Do you reckon he's going to do that, or do you reckon he's going to go for, Anna, who's basically, good mates with Sharif, but it doesn't look like there's a real, a genuine connection that's going to last there.
I'm not sure, Dave. I mean, Amber's not shown a lot of romance with anybody, has she? Maybe she's going to step up. She might like a bit of Danny when he comes in. I don't know. She
needs to realise she's on a game show type of thing, I think. She's, again, she says she's got the chat like. I've seen no evidence of it whatsoever.
No, I agree. Totally agree. Absolute nonsense. Now, just before we go, Dave, have you got any predictions?
I think Anton will stay in a little bit longer. I think Lucy, Tommy, Joe, Molly-Mae, that whole love square type thing that's not over. So I'm still interested how that's going to play out, because, she's made, Tommy would call it a 50-50 decision, but, she's made probably what in her mind was a 51-49 decision, but she'd known Joe for that whole day longer, and it mattered, and to waver that much, I think Tommy might still, if he doesn't get distracted by Molly-Mae, he might still be in there with Lucy. So he just has to put in some grafting time. I think that's my only kind of, not a very strong prediction as such, not a left field one either. It's probably a bit obvious, but yeah, that's what I think is going to happen in the next week.
No, because I think I'm steering towards the fact that Lucy's going to produce her undying love for Tommy, I think. Again, I agree. I totally agree. And I also think as well, we may see a shot with Curtis as well this week. So we'll see, Dave. I'm with that one. Now, if you want to get in contact with the show, guys, at Love Island Cast on Twitter, or if you want to email us, the loveislandcast@gmail.com. And also, myself and Dave do another podcast called Comics in Motion, where we review comic book-based media, TV, movies. So if you want to get in contact with us, it's at Comics in Motion P on Twitter, or Comics in Motion podcast@gmail.com. And we're on all podcast hosting sites, guys. Big thank you. Fantastic first week, David. And I'm so happy that you're actually enjoying parts of the show and we're actually getting involved in the drama. So thank you very much this week, mate.
No, it's been good fun. And I think what I've learned in this first week is you can have a great body, but if you're a boring bastard, you're going to go home fairly soon.
That was either Scottish or Welsh, Dave. But anyway, very good. See you later, guys.